And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce Thorsten Fischer, Director of Product Management in our Content Services team. Thorsten, welcome, and thank you so much for joining me. Tell me a little bit what you're planning to share with us and show us today.
Yeah, thank you, Murray. It's a great pleasure for me to present our new core content offering today. Yeah, I prepared a short demo about the way how we would provision a new subscription, a new tenant for core content, how an end user then could work and configure the solution, and how this would even look like for the administrator on the customer side to get access to this new application, and really focusing also on the way how we integrate core content into a leading business application like SAP. Yeah, so let's start with this short demo. And what we see here is our OpenText fulfillment center where we create a new tenant and subscription. So I created a tenant a few minutes before, no subscription is signed so far. So, and what I did at the end, I entered my name and my email address because I want to get the notification email for the new subscription. So now let's create a new subscription, core content. It's a multi-tenant subscription, and we just select here the right application core content. We define a name, OT World. We just keep the existing date here, select the beta, and enter customer ID. So that's all we need to do initially to create a simple new subscription of core content. What will happen now in the background is that we send out an email to the customer administrator, and also what happened before, where I initially created these tenant. I got a notification already as a business administrator for this new tenant, where I was able then to configure initially my access. So I completed the registration, and also then were able to define, for example, other users and add other users to this application. So typically this takes now a few seconds or up to 1 or 2 minutes until we get another email with the new subscription confirmation. But also what we could do here right now is just close this part and just open up the admin center again for this new customer, where we can manage all the new subscriptions for this just created new tenant. So I entered myself here as the contact. And just as a proof point, within this second, I just received here the new confirmation email, and therefore I will switch. So this can take maybe a few minutes, maybe it was 30 seconds. So let's use this new confirmation email and immediately switch to our new core content app we just provisioned. So again, I'm now on the customer side. I received this new notification, and now let's log on to this new subscription. Because I registered already as a tenant administrator, I have already a password, and I'm able now to review my new core content application. This is what I see as an, if you will, empty system, but we have already this nice starting page. We have already a get started button where I can just do a quick walkthrough on the main capabilities, like personalize my home screen, how to work with the application while browsing, and so on. But also I now would be really able to do this very easy and quick, for example, to create my content structure where I maybe want to use a specific folder for all my product information. Also, I'm able, as a business administrator, to configure the whole landing page. So I can do this for everyone or just for myself, and maybe adding all these nice widgets around workflows we have prepared, or just configuring here a new shortcut for my product folder I just created. Of course, there is much more I can do, but this is really a very simple and easy way to configure such a system. Let's now switch to an environment where we configured already a little bit more. So this is how the application could look like after we created more folders, where we created already workflows, and very important, where we created workspaces, which are the connection at the end to a leading application like SAP. So a workspace is at the end an object within core content, which is based on data from an SAP system. So this is, for example, in supplier information, where we have a predefined structure of folders, and where we have, very important, the metadata out of SAP. And whenever we create a new object within SAP, or whenever we update an object within SAP, we are able to see this immediately here on the core content side. And for example, just search for supplier here, our Metro Convention Center in Toronto, where we typically do the event in North America. We have the same metadata, we have the folder structure already, and of course, we can manage content. And here an example how we just display a few pictures here with a nice preview within this configuration and within this core content application. Last but not least, let's take a final look into how the SAP connectivity can be configured. Because yes, we need to do something here to make sure that the application knows how to connect to the SAP environment. And therefore, let's switch to the let's correct this. Let's switch to the business administrator and IT administrator on the customer side, and look into an already configured system and then configured connection to SAP. So this is now where the customer can configure and maintain their own subscription. So in this case, we have 2 subscriptions assigned to this specific tenant. And then you see the different aspects here around managing your subscription, about the user, the connectivity, and just take a brief look into the SAP connectivity. The main thing the customer needs to do, or with the help of our professional service, maintain the URL to an SAP S/4HANA cloud system, define the user and the password so that you can connect to the SAP system, and then at the end, switching to our job mechanism, where we can configure and define replication jobs for SAP objects or for other connected systems. And here we have just a very simple example around some predefined lists. So the business partner, at the end, what we have to do is decide what we want to do. So we want to replicate a workspace. This is about business partner, and either leave this empty and we will replicate everything, or if we want to define and specify a specific area, we just create here the query language at the end, and we refer to the S/4HANA connection we just showed before in the tab on the connection side. That's at the end all we need to do, or the customer needs to do, to configure core content and connect it to an SAP system. And with this, back to you, Mui.
Thorsten, thank you very much for a great demo. I love how easy it is for core content to integrate into relevant business application, and how easy it is to set up and configure a tenant. Summarize the value for me, please.
Yeah, thanks, Mui. And I really like to highlight again that we bring the content in the context of a business process, of a leading application like SAP. So this at the end provides a great value that no one needs to enter metadata manually anymore, because the metadata exists already within SAP. And if there is a new object in SAP, we can replicate this to core content. If someone is changing data within SAP, we are replicating this change to core content. And together with this rapid provisioning of a multi-tenant SaaS application, I think this is a great value for our customers.
Thorsten, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for a great demo.
Thank you, Muri.